What's up, y'all? Welcome back. So my daughter's birthday is in about a month, a little over a month, and this year we decided, or I gave the green light to her having her own party, aka a sleepover. She is turning 11 and she has never had her own party, mainly because for the majority of her life I could not afford it, but now more so because I just didn't want to spend the money. But I'm gonna go ahead and let her have her moment, let her have her experience. But that does leave me a little bit stressed because I have a little over a month to prepare for everything on the financial end of things. And I'm mainly going to be DIYing everything because I don't want to pay anyone else to do it. But I do always go through the same process or the similar process when trying to figure out how much money I should have set aside, as well as how much I should be setting back and by what frequency, so that I can make sure that I get to my goal by my target end date. So I'm going to be walking you through the steps that I use in this video. All right, first things first, you need to know exactly what it is that you're going to need. Like, make a list of every item or thing, gift, whatever it is that you are going to be working towards. You need to have those listed out. That way you can go in and estimate a cost for everything. So using me as an example, I know I'm going to need balloons, I'm going to need cupcakes, I'm going to need the little sleeping teepee tent, as well as some little air mattresses to make the tents. I am really banking on Pinterest to help me with this, and I'm hoping that I can find someone that I can rent the air mattresses from, so that I don't have to buy them and then give them all back, because I feel like that's gonna make me look a little bit suspicious.
Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
But you know what, it is what it is. So those are the things that I'm going to be needing, but I do know that Christmas is coming up, and so that would be a great place to start with this, because it gives you about 2 months of wiggle room to figure out what you're going to need and to save for that. So you're going to list out everything. I like to keep it in a Word document on my computer. That way I don't lose it. I am not opposed to pen and paper, but I just want something that is going to be saved. So if I lose something, I at least know that my document is backed up by the cloud and I'm going to be able to access it on different devices. Now, when you have everything listed out, you want to go in and add the cost. So if you are doing your Christmas shopping and you know you have a pair of iPods, or what are they called? iPods on your list, you can literally just go to Google and get an amount for iPods and then put that on your list, and that is going to be how much that line item is going to cost. And then line by line, you're going to do the same exact thing. If you cannot find something, as in going on Google and trying to see how much these things cost, just estimate. And then after that, you're going to total everything up. And this is where you kind of have to use discernment, because if that total is looking a little high, certain things are not going to be able to make it, right? We're going to have to X some things off the list, but this is a good way to know, like, what is the necessity and what is the good to have if you have additional funds. And obviously we're going to know our financial situation best, right? So depending on the total, if it is looking a bit too high, you want to go line by line and see if there is a specific item that takes up the bulk of that total, and you are going to have to, number one, exit out, save it for another time, or you're going to need to find a cheaper alternative if you cannot increase your income. But this is a good way to go through and make sure that everything is realistic based on your financial situation and you're not putting yourself in a worsening situation. So once you've got your total and everything is looking realistic, then step 3 is going to be setting your target date. Like, by what date do you need this total by? And it's going to be really hard if you do not set a target date to figure out how much you need to save and how often in order to reach that amount. So for an example, let's say we have 2 months, which is 60 days, and we are needing to save up $800. And then let's say that we get paid twice a month. So we have 4 paychecks that we are going to be using towards this $800. So obviously, whipping out my little handy dandy calculator, we have an $800 target total amount. We have 4 paychecks to use, and we want to save per paycheck. Divided by 4, that is going to be $200 that we need every single paycheck. Now here, if it's just not doable for you to do this, then you may need to stretch out your target date to give you more wiggle room. That way the amount that you're going to need to take from each paycheck is not so high. And if you have to have it by that date, obviously you're going to have to go back to your list and kind of rework some things. But let's say we can add an additional month. So we have 2 extra paychecks. So we have an $800 total divided by 6 paychecks. That's $133. So that's a little better. That's about $60 that we can save per paycheck. So if that is looking more doable, then you would go ahead with that frequency. And now let's say we don't want to save per paycheck. We just want to save per month. It's going to be the same exact thing. So we have an $800 total. We have 3 months to work with. That's going to be $266 that we're going to need to make sure that we're putting back every single month in order to reach that target date. So once you have the list of everything that you're going to need, you have your total, you have your end date, so we know how much we are putting back and how often, then we're going to move on to the next step, which is to set up a place where we're going to put these funds. Like, where are we going to put these funds? Are we going to put it in a savings account? Are we going to leave it in our checking account? Are we going to have a cash envelope? And this really all boils down to what type of person you are. Are you a visual person? Are you more of a tech savvy person? Whatever it is that your preference is. Some people like pen and paper and cash. That's totally fine. That's the way that they want to handle and manage their finances. And some people like, strictly technology. So they want it in a bank account, and some people don't want to deal with savings accounts. Some people want to put it in a checking account so they don't have to deal with that withdrawal limit and then being charged for going over that withdrawal limit. They just want easy access to and from that account, which is totally fine. I get that as well. But as for me, I love sinking funds, which is not just strictly for savings accounts. You can do that in checking accounts as well. But sinking funds are just basically they're like little mini savings accounts, but it's for a specific purpose. So if it's for a laptop that you're trying to save up for, that specific fund is for the laptop and nothing else. And I use Ally. I do know that there are other accounts that allow you to break up your total into like separate goals. They call them buckets on Ally, but it just allows you to see what part of your balance belongs to what specific goal. And so I will go up, and my sinking funds do change from time to time. Some of them stay the same because they're ongoing, but if I have a specific goal that is not ongoing, like a sleepover, then I will change whatever sinking funds that I do have to that specific thing, and that way I know what amount I have specifically for that sleepover that's being pulled from my savings account balance. Now, the next step is something that I personally do, but you do not have to do it if that's not your thing, and that is setting up automation. So I will have a specific amount withdrawn from my paycheck and direct deposited into my sinking fund based on the amount that I said that I was going to need to reach that target date, and then based on that frequency. So if it's every paycheck, then it's going to be going into the sinking fund every single paycheck, and then that way I'll be able to check in from time to time. When I reach that target date, then I will end that automation, because obviously I don't need those funds going in there anymore. And then that is how I do my savings for whatever specific thing that I have going on. Now, I do like doing this because I find that it helps releases that shame and guilt that you have sometimes whenever you are buying something that's not a necessity. Like in a couple of videos, I did talk about how we have a lot of shame surrounding finances oftentimes if we've made bad decisions, so much so that we feel like we don't deserve to spend money on things outside of bills and other necessities. So with this, you are practicing delayed gratification. You know, you went in, you did the work, you saved up for it, and then now you have this amount that you saved up for responsibly, and you're able to go out and purchase that thing or do that thing guilt-free. This has really helped me ease into paying for things outside of bills and not feeling so guilty about it. Now, I do still deal with guilt. I am still human, but I find that when I do these steps before I go out and make a purchase, it's not impulsive, obviously, and so I have more pride because I took the steps necessary to be able to make sure that I can afford this certain thing. So hopefully this was really helpful to you guys. I do know, like, I have a little over a month, so I'm not going to be able to do a lot of planning when it comes to this sleepover, but I think that I'm at a place now where I make additional income, enough additional income to be able to do spontaneous things like this, and it is exciting. So let me know down below how you guys plan to purchase things, and I will catch you in the next video.